particular about governance because I believe Nigeria can become one of the greatest country in the world. I mean, can overtake countries like China, America, the UK. I believe because we've got that potential. But for that to happen, like I would always say, everybody has got to participate. And even in governance, because a lot of the times we just focus on the center, and the center can be relative. The center can be the federal government or the state government. But there is another government, and I love to talk about that government whenever I have the opportunity to talk about it, because it's the government as defined in our textbooks as the grassroots government, the government closest to the people, and I'm talking about the local government. And with every new dispensation, comes to believe that there will be new ideas. There will be, maybe the same goal, maybe the same dream, but new approaches, new ways to, trying to achieve it. And so on the show today, we'll be looking at the current state government. But while we are looking at the current state government, we will majorly be looking at the state government as it affects the 23 LGA governments, or would I say administrations, all right, or administrators, whichever one. I am Kalada, and welcome to another conversation on today's edition of Hard Facts. And I have a guest in the studio. I will introduce him right about now. I've got Dr. Govt Worlu, who is a lecturer at the University of Port Harcourt, the Department of Management. Interesting. And you're welcome on the show. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Kalada. Thank you for yielding this platform to me this evening.
All right. Dr. Govt Worlu is also a former local government transition chairman, Obiakpor LGA. What does it mean to be a transition chairman? Can you explain that to me?
Well, in the last couple of years, we've not really had transition governments. But before now, times when the tenure of a local government ends and the elections have not held to usher in new people. But because there cannot be vacuum, somebody must administer over the local government. People were appointed as caretaker members,
ESCOs,
chairman and members to run the affairs of the local government.
But is that not an aberration of the law? I mean, like you said, the law does not allow for a vacuum. So why were elections not held at the time?
Well, maybe you ask those who were supposed to ensure that the elections held.
You're spoken like a true politician. Welcome on the show. All right, so you must have heard the news that the current governor Siminalayi Fubara, appointed 13 people from the previous government. 4 commissioners, commissioner for justice and attorney general of the state, for finance, for education, and for works. I'm talking about Zakiya Sadango. I'm talking about Isaac Kamalu, Chinedu Mom, and Alabo George Kelly. And it's caused some conversation or debate in the state. Some are saying, it is pointing that he's going to be answering to the beck and call of the former governor, which is Nyesom Wike. Others, like Sarah Igbe, is calling for new ideas. Let's have fresh ideas. What do you make of it? Let's start from there. What do you make of it? Do you think this is a good thing? Because the governor has said that the past administration has done well, and there is nothing wrong in continuing from where the past administration has stopped, and government is to continue, right? And he has also said that he really wants to do well for the people, and so he'll be going to take advice from the former governor once in a while. So how do you make this whole scenario?
Okay, first, permit me to use this opportunity to congratulate the governor for a successful swearing in.
Okay.
On Monday he was sworn in as governor of Rivers State in a very peaceful and seamless process. And then to show seriousness, he has gone ahead to appoint some people into offices.
Okay.
And I heard part of the controversies around that appointment. And I think that the comments of certain individuals are just misplaced. I say so because, you know, in River State is one state where, over time, politics is played from season to season. Even in football, you know, there is what they call off-season, when people go to rest.
Yeah, I think we're getting into the off-season
exactly.
now.
But in River State, you find that people play politics around the clock. And that's not good enough. It's part of what I refer to as hyper politics in River State, which is not very beneficial, you know, overall. But then when somebody, if you want to criticize somebody, it's better that you do so very constructively. The governor of River State, Siminalayi Fubara, when he was campaigning, he went around the 23 local government areas of River State with a very clear and consistent message: consolidation of the new Rivers vision. And Rivers people listened to him, of course, listened to other candidates, and decided to pitch their tents with him. And today he's governor. And in that consolidation agenda, he was part and parcel of the previous government. Don't forget that he was the Attorney General of the state, the Accountant General of the state.
Yeah.
He was part and parcel of that government. And these four individuals that he has appointed, if you ask me, they are people that their scorecard as commissioners in the past government speaks for them. And like they say in football, let me go back to football. Like they say in football, you don't change a winning team. Much as we expect that new people will be brought on, but you will agree with me that because of the kind of government that Governor Wike ran, certain areas were very key in that government, and one of them is the area of law and security.
Okay.
So, and there are ongoing, you know, projects, activities, programs in that area, and of course, having a new government and changing the commissioner might, in the thinking of the governor, bring about some kind of a slowdown in the process of government. So he decides to bring him back. Now, fast forward to works. River State became a construction site under Governor Wike. Of course, you know that even towards the dying days of that government, governor was still commissioning projects and flagging of projects. So you want to bring back the Commissioner of Works, who is, of course, superintending over that. As we speak today, WAEC exams are going on, and a whole lot of other things happening in the educational system. And the Commissioner for Education, who superintends over that, is asked to come back, you know, just so that there's no truncation in what's
happening.
Yeah, and then, of course, the same thing happens with finance. You can't run government without finance. So, and it is within the purview, it is within the rights of the governor to choose his commissioner from wherever. If he wants to bring new people, fine. If he wants to keep old people, it's up to him. Again, when it comes to the issue of whether he should listen to the previous, the former governor or not, I don't think that we should bother about such things.
Okay.
The truth being that a governor, or similarly, if we are being the governor of River State now, cannot, if he truly means well for River State, he cannot completely divorce himself from Governor Wike.
He cannot.
Yeah, he just cannot.
Why do you think so?
Yeah, because you want to, you know, in business, it's called coaching or mentoring. Now you want to fall back on that guy who has walked this road, who understands the challenges, who has an idea how certain things are done, to be able to draw inspiration. Even President Tinubu said so to Buhari the other day that, look, you want to travel to Niger or wherever, but just know that I'll be come knocking on your door.
Okay.
That's how it works. And if anybody is thinking that it should be the other way around, then the person, of course, is not being sincere.
So I've listened to you carefully. You've talked about how the previous administration did noble in areas of development in the state. You've talked about how government is a continuum, and this present government has to, find a way to always go back and learn from the successes of the previous government. And you talked about certain things, but let's look at it from this angle. There is a local government law number 5 of 2018 that somehow gives the government the rights to the House of Assembly if a local government chairman is to be suspended. And we saw during the time of Governor Wike where some local government chairmen ran into some kind of trouble with the government. We've also, during the previous administration, we had the debate on financial autonomy of the local government. And I will quote the former chief of staff. He said, the governor is not the governor that is interested in the allocation or the money accruing to local government council. I'm speaking here and I want to be challenged. Let one council chairman out of the 23 say we went to Jack, and at the end of Jack meeting we were asked for money. He further said LGA chairmen were free to use money how they deemed fit with. Now, this is where, my confusion sets in. With the guidance of the state. And of course, through the Ministry of Local Government, that's where the governor, directs or guides or advises the local governments. The local government chairman of MOA also echoed something similar last year, where he said that Governor Wike gives them the ability, of the former governor, I should learn how to say that, gives them the ability to utilize their funds, and he had received about 3 billion at the time. The question I want to ask is, how did, because you've been a transition chairman, so you have an idea of how, and you are, a lecturer in management, so you have an idea of how things are managed. How would you score the last administration when it comes to, local governments?
I will say very highly. And I'll give you a number of reasons why I say so. Governor Wike is one man who...
Former governor.
It's a governor. Once a governor, always a governor.
I know, former governor.
Yeah, but former Governor Wike is one man who does what he says. And whatever he says, he means. One of the things he did with the local governments is that after a few years, the beginning of his tenure, after a few months rather, he settled for local government elections, making sure that the elections held when they were supposed to hold. So you don't hear about transition government anymore. That's a very a point where you should give him thumbs up. Then secondly, he did. If you go around the 23 local governments in River State, you find that anywhere you have a man as chairman, you had a woman as the vice. That's very key. And then in the legislative assemblies, he also made sure that women had
representation,
a reasonable representation in the assemblies. Yeah, and then because the chairman, like Chidi Lloyd, and other chairmen have said that the governor never interfered with their funds and all of that. I don't think that anybody who doesn't have any concrete evidence otherwise should say it, except if you want to cause trouble.
But that's why I want to ask the question now.
Yes.
Because you just mentioned, do you think they would have been able to say, even if it was otherwise? I'm not saying it's otherwise, but even if.
No.
Do you think they're observing table manners?
Assuming that they didn't say, and somebody else wants to say, the person should have what looks like a basis for saying so.
Okay.
Do you understand?
All right.
In my time as a local government chairman, caretaker chairman, I didn't serve under Wiki. I served under the government before. Under Amechi. And before then, I used to hear that governors used to interfere with the funds of local government. But I want to say here, with every sense of responsibility, that during the 3 months that I had the opportunity of being the chairman of our local government, Amechi never interfered one day, not asking for 1 naira for the funds of local government. But you see, sometimes what people refer to as the state government interfering with local government is that there are certain provisions, there are certain funds that ordinarily should go to local government or that used to go to local government.
Okay.
Like the money for the salaries of teachers. They used to give it to local government chairman to administer before. But a time came in the history of our country, not only in River State, that teachers were owed by local government chairmen who used the money as they so deemed. And because of the importance of education at that level, and of course, if a teacher is not paid, the teacher cannot very effectively discharge their duties. So there was this decision that money can be taken at source and paid to the teachers. It's like a provision that has, instead of giving you the money, we pay the teachers, then you just use the teachers. I think in the area of health too, the primary health centers and all of that are in local governments. The local governments are supposed to have some kind of role in terms of payment and provision of certain things. Those things are now done like centrally, with the agreement of the local governments.
But it's still, is that not an aberration to what the Constitution says? Because the Constitution outlines the roles and functions of the local government.
I would not say that it's an aberration because, beyond the Constitution, there are other rules and, circulars that can be used to run government.
True.
Yes. So, I hear now that the president, the immediate past president, has now signed the autonomy.
No, I think that's been disputed. I can't remember the details.
I said I heard so.
Okay.
Now, and then you recall that there was a time when the president was issuing what they call something orders. Executive orders, yes. With a view to getting the local governments to have the kind of autonomy that the Constitution envisaged. And of course, there was the debate at the National Assembly when they were talking about constitutional amendment, and the local government were supposed to vote for or against that and all of that. And of course, you know what happened. To a large extent, the local government themselves said they didn't want.
That's where I want to pause it. That's where I'm going to.
But that's the process of law. If they said they don't want, and they are the ones who are supposed to decide, that's what it will be. But ideally, the local governments, in the thinking of the Constitution, should have, just like the judiciary, should have their own money and decide how they spend it.
Now, the reason why, could it be that these chairmen, I'm not saying anyone is corrupt now, but these chairmen are observing table manners, in the sense that you just said that the former governor ensured that in every LGA, women were represented.
Yeah.
You said, and I quote, that the former governor ensured that the local government did what was necessary. The question then is, should the governor be the one ensuring? Because remember, local government officials are elected by the people in that local government.
No, when I didn't say governor, the state government.
Okay.
The state government.
We're saying the same thing. Should the state government be ensuring?
It's not the same thing. There is a ministry in charge of local governments. It's there all over the federation. It's even in the Constitution. Yeah, and then you also have what they call the joint accounting system.
Account allocation.
Yes, account allocation. So there's a meeting between the officials of the states and officials of the local government, where the money that is sent to the states is sent to centrally, and then they now separate it and then give local government their own, and then the state can now have theirs. It is at that point that you can say that there is an interface or intersection between the state government and the local government. But what is at issue is that some people are alleging that at that point that the state government sometimes collects monies that are meant for the local government and uses it the way it deems fit, and that's not correct.
Okay.
And I'm saying that anybody who is saying that should be able to provide some kind of evidence.
I agree with you on that one. But you see, the conversation now is, okay, maybe I should ask this question. do you think local government in Rivers State over the years have performed the duties and responsibilities as enshrined in the Constitution? Over the years, not any particular administration, over the years.
Well, the thing is this, when you look at what the functions of local government is supposed to be, and then the amount of money that is available to them, the will that politicians have to be able to do what they're supposed to do, and so on and so forth, and then the extent to which even the people hold officials to account for the trust that they have, I would say that they have not done very well.
Okay.
And I'm not the only one saying it.
Okay.
It's there, But you see, if we want to give credit, and then we're not looking at particular regimes, particular individuals, you will agree with me that under Governor Wike, as the leader of the PDP in Rivers State, and having local government chairman superintend over the local governments, Wike's message was very clear. If you don't have what to offer, don't bother coming.
But that's the question I'm asking. Should the governor be the one?
No, it's not the governor. I said as leader of the party.
As leader of the party.
As the leader of the party.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He leads the party in the state. You want to be chairman under PDP, and you don't have anything to offer, don't bother coming, because you will not be enlisted. If you manage to get through, if you don't perform in your first term, you're not coming back again. And that's what has put local government chairmen on their toes. So there's what I call a healthy competition among the local government chairmen in Rivers State today, who are now trying their best to see how they can, improve on what is expected of them.
Okay.
And if you go to Obiakpor Local Government Council, for example, under the leadership of the current chairman, George
Worlu.
Yes. George has done something that no other local government chairman in the history of Obiakpor, and perhaps
including your 3 months.
Yes, including my 3 months, and perhaps in the history of local government chairmen in Nigeria, have not done. George has a human capital development focus, and he has a committee, a scholarship grant committee, of which I'm a member.
Okay.
Appointed, graciously made me a member.
No wonder you're saying it.
Yes, and because it's something that I know, and everybody should know about it and hear about it. So last year, he started last year. He's on 1 year in office now also. So he starts with 50 PhDs being given grants to complete their program, and 50 master's degree students. The 50 PhDs get about 700,000 naira, and the master's people get about 500,000 naira. He has done it the first time. He has done it again. He just did the second batch, and then he has trained a number of Obiakpor indigents in what this school here, Chakin Maritime Academy.
Yeah, all of this were in our news bulletin.
Yes,
we get the
so
point.
He's doing all of that. And then if you talk about building of schools, you talk about provision of transformers for communities, you talk about the remodeling of the local government. If you go there, last week there was a commissioning of the local government legislative assembly building and all of that. So all these things are going on, and they didn't used to happen before.
But let me
under the guidance and leadership.
Let me pause you now.
Yes.
Let me pause you now. Going back to the Constitution. It is mandated that the local government should join the state in building, in developing, not just roads and schools, and also the economy of the state. And now, I'm of the opinion that for the state to get to the point where it becomes, the destination of every business or everybody, for us to get to that point, the 23 LGAs would have to play a huge economic and developmental role.
Yeah.
Now, when you mention all these things that you've mentioned, how does it really impact the common man? You understand where I'm coming from now? Because if you go to Obiakpor, for instance, apart from the projects done by the state...
Don't worry. Let me answer you straight.
All right, go
ahead.
ahead.
Local government chairman or state government does road. And you're asking me how it affects how it will impact the common man. Does the common man not use roads? Somebody provides transformer to enable electricity.
Okay.
Doesn't the ordinary man need electricity? And don't they use electricity? The man builds school. Is it not for the ordinary man? Ordinary men, are they not supposed to go to school? You see, the thing is this. I am of the school of thought that government can do better. That government perhaps has not done as much as it should do. Yeah. But we must first of all acknowledge and appreciate what government has done, and then we can ask for more. There are other areas beyond infrastructure. There are other areas that government should also pay attention. I agree. But when you look at the limited resources available to government, when you look at the fact that one government cannot satisfy all the areas. For example, whether anybody likes it or not, Governor Wike has tremendously improved the roads, flyovers, hospitals, schools in Rivers State. Talking about infrastructure. Of course, he won the award as the Mr. Infrastructure in Nigeria, an award that was given to him by the Buhari government that he very fiercely criticized. Now, the new government can decide to look into other areas. Of course, if you want to do business, you need roads to do business, no matter the kind of business you want to do. Even if you want to do agriculture, you need roads to bring your produce from the farm into the city, and so on. So, if the roads have been provided by one government, and then we appreciate that, and we acknowledge that, and we're now asking the next government, could you please look into this other area, which I believe that is the kind of engagement we should be having with government.
Now, can I ask you, can I ask you a question?
And I can tell you that the new vision agenda is one that is detailed and clear.
Of course, we've talked about it on the show. So let me pause you now, please. You're talking about good roads and infrastructure. I mean, I agree with your argument, but look at it from your profession, a management perspective. Which would you say is a priority? Building, either for local government or for the state, building industries that will churn out revenue, as against building infrastructures like roads and overhead bridges and all of that.
Government shouldn't build industries. Government should enable businesses to build their industries.
But we've seen public-private enterprises.
Yeah, you those approaches are there. But ordinarily, the government is here trying to do, and everybody needs to key in, and then we can talk and hold very healthy conversations that will lead us to where we want to go to. Now you have a government provide the enabling environment that enables private business people to comfortably bring in their money here and invest. They are the ones who should build the factories. But government can help you with acquiring land. Government can help you with getting CFO. Government can help you with reducing your tax burden. Government can help you with providing security. Government can help you with providing some overheads that will make the cost of doing business, low. But when people expect, and it's misplaced, when you expect that government should go and be building factories, and if government doesn't do that, you say that government has failed. It is you who has failed, not the government.
So one final question, because we have to open the phone lines now. And the question is, now let's come to the new government. The government of Siminalayi Fubara says it to consolidate on some of the things that you have talked about from the previous. How does this relate to the local governments? Because you said that at the time of Governor Wike's administration, he ensured that whoever was coming as local government chairman under the platform of the PDP ensure that they were going to work and deliver the dividends, to the grassroots.
Sure.
Do you see this current administration towing that same path, given that we started from collecting commissioners, according to you, who you said did very well in their ministries, according to you, I'm quoting you. Are we going to see him to that part, or do you think there are better ways that we can harness the 23 local governments, especially working in collaboration with their chairman? Because I'm of the opinion, if the state government had worked together with the federal government in the last 8 years, probably would have had more development than the infrastructures that we have. But taken into the local government, do you see this government towing the part that is the local government chairman do the right thing, improve on governance at that level? And how do you think we can use the local governments to develop river states?
Well, I would say that certain lessons have been learned over the years.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the way human beings should go. No matter what you do, no matter how beautiful your plans are, as you begin to execute, you begin to see certain things that you probably didn't see at the point of planning. Then they become lessons. Even what we call failure is opportunity for us to learn.
Okay.
Now, because lessons have been learned, I am of the view that as we move forward, even from the federal government, one of the ways that Nigeria can move forward is that we must get to the point where we are practicing true democracy.
Okay.
And true federalism.
Okay.
Now, when you have a true federalism, what that means to me is that every region, every state, every local government can identify their areas of strength. For example, in River State, there are riverine areas and then there are upland areas. A riverine community has strength in fishing. An upland community like Eche can decide to focus on food crop production. Now, if the local government chairman working with the locals are able to come up with plans that will make the people develop their own economy in their local government, make the money. For example, we're talking about agriculture being the next cassava being the next oil.
Yeah.
For example, Eche has people and has the land. All you need to do is bring a little bit of science into what they're doing.
So that's the government now helping create industry that I talked about.
Helping them to understand that there can be a science to agriculture.
Okay.
And then helping them with technical support.
Okay.
In terms of training and all of that. And then maybe people want loans, government is able to guarantee the loans. And then educate the people to know. Because one of the things that we have done in this country over the years, that government comes up with a program, the people will come, government provides money and all of that, and people just think that it's their own share of the national cake. So rather than use this money to grow themselves, to develop themselves, pay back the money, so that government has money to give to other people in a revolving scheme.
Situation, yeah.
Yes. People take this money and walk away. They don't develop themselves, they don't make the money, they don't return the money to government. The same people will come back after some years to cry that government has not done anything for them.
All right.
So what we need to be doing now is to see how we can identify the areas that each local government has advantage, and then everybody working together, including the media, to get the people to take advantage of that which is in their place for their own betterment, and then they can now contribute to the center.
All right, I've been speaking with Dr. Govt Worlu, who is a lecturer at University of Port Harcourt. He's a lecturer Department of Management, or in the Department of Management, and also he's a former local government transition chairman of Obiakpor local government. And then I'm thinking, we've been talking about the local government and how it relates to the state government as well. And the question I want to ask is, or I've got questions. First one, how did the 23 local government, okay, you know what, let's personalize it. You listening. How did your local government fare under the previous dispensation of former Governor Nyesom Wike? Let's start from there. Secondly, what do you think? Because government is about collaboration. 3 tiers of government. So it's time for us to talk about development of River State. But like my guest has said, the various local governments would need to identify their strengths and amplify it and develop the economy of that local government. And if the 23 local governments will do that, then River State will somehow become economically buoyant, given yet again the gloomy future that awaits us as we now go into the non-subsidy era. And so I'm asking, how then can we, unnerve our local governments and make them buoyant so that it then has a ripple effect on the state, River State? Remember, we're talking for development. So I'm going to open the phone lines right about now. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. Remember, 2 questions. First one is, how did your local government fare? Do you think your local government chairmen were given the flexibility to do what they were supposed to do? And if you think they were given the flexibility to do what they were supposed to do, did they do what they were supposed to do? And then the second one is, how then do we improve, given we have a new dispensation, how then do we improve local government administration in River State? And okay, I get back to the other question, but let's take this first call now. Braid is calling from Elioso. Braid, good evening to you.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Let's talk.
Yeah, Honorable Gift, Maker.
Dearly, my brother.
Yes, you are speaking very extensively, but I want to put it to you that the former governor, Obiakpor LGA, did not try in human capital development. As I speak with you, last time you will agree with me, during his debate, he said he will make his budget public.
Braid, we're not focusing on the previous administration. We talked about the previous administration as it relates to the local government. That's where the focus is.
That is where I'm going to.
So can we get there, please?
Yes, and also he said his budget would be made public. It wasn't. And agriculture, who should be the state of, the local government did not even collaborate with the local government to ensure that they go into agriculture, go into mechanized farming. Where I come from the Calabari extraction, where our hobby is fishing. The local government cannot come together, the local government within the river cannot come together and bring up aquaculture. And also the local government within the urban centers couldn't come with agriculture. And you see where the former governor, carrying out local government projects, which market is purely and stupidly for local government. Yeah. But it was carried by the governor. That is whereby people are talking that is also disrupting the powers of the local government. You will agree with me, such happens in River State.
All right, then.
And you will see that the local government chairman, some of them, 2 weeks after the month, before they are paid salary.
All right, then.
The workers will cry out before their salary gets to them. Is that how it's supposed to be? Is that how it is during your tenure as a critical chairman?
So thank you very much, Braid. You get to answer that, but let's take another call. Gift is calling from Yanagua. Gift, good evening to you.
Good evening, my brother. Let me greet Dr. Gift Worlu, my namesake. Thank God.
Good evening.
He has said it all. As far as I'm concerned, the local government chairman in River State, it is about competition. Canada, please carry out research after today. Find out how much is the allocation. If at all, without any assistance from Governor Wike to this local government chairman in the 23 LGAs, I am telling you, none of them will meet up to carry out anything. Look at their functions. The amount that they are receiving in each of these local governments cannot take care of those local government, the LGAs. No way. You cannot meet up. Sometimes some people talk, governors are taking something from them. It is here in Bayelsa that I found out. Doyen Dean is the one assisting LGAs. There's no way. How much are they receiving? Answer from Obiakpor and Port Harcourt. And I think internally generated revenue that are seeing something somehow. The rest local government, what are they receiving? Out the allocation and the internally generated revenue. It is the government that are teaching them. So this impression of governor receiving or taking nothing, no fiscal.
All right.
Nothing. They are not assisting them. And the River State local government chairman, I'm happy with them. Is it the Equatorial local government? Is it the LMA? Is it this other person from Calamari? They are doing competition. Everybody is trying to beat the next person.
All right, then.
Thank you.
I hope I can see the competition, though. Welcome, Dakuku.
Hello.
Yeah, Dakuku, yeah.
Good evening. This is Dakuku from Obiakpor.
All right, welcome.
So let me, with your guest, I have heard what he was saying. The local government chairman or intervention of the governors or not. During Amechi did not intervene in local government
Hello?
for them to develop the local government. I get to my point. But this present one, I don't know, but it is suffering a lot. We have not even seen local government chairman who does something like a past local government. Most of this one, no development. But this one has been developed all the words.
Dakuku, can you hear me? I'm not from HA, but we hear in the news that there's one commissioning or that commissioning in HA. So that there is always a commissioning in HA.
Hello?
The network is terrible. I've got to let you go. I'm sorry about that. But I've got another call. I've got Christian who is calling from Eliosu now. So I'm going to take Christian's call. Christian, good evening to you.
Yeah, Colada, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome.
And good evening to your guest there.
Good evening.
Sometime I will want to say that how would I put it? Because let's not just begin to talk about things that is so glaring to all of us. Because as far as I'm concerned, I told people that we are in this problem because Nigeria is supposed to be operating 6 years of government. We're operating 1.5.
Okay.
How do I mean? We have what looks like a functional federal government and some state government, but a comatose 774 local government, which most governors are responsible for our local government not working. Because they are a creation of the constitution. What do we have around as local government chairman? People who just come on radio and begin to praise governor, and we come and we deceive ourselves. I should clap hand for a local government chairman that he built a secretariat. Sometimes I look at I just excuse us because we are still a developing country, we are a third world country. If not, these things are things that we should be ashamed of. Look at how the streets are. From zero that local government chairman is supposed to do. They will know how to put tax force to come and collect revenue from petty traders. But they cannot come and patch small road. Who told them that local government cannot patch a small road? Of course, from zero. How many of the markets have they built apart from the market we know over 40 years ago in Port Harcourt? How many markets have they built apart from Obiakpor? And the one they built at that place, how many people are using it? I mean, sometimes I don't understand.
Right.
No wonder when people look at it, they say third world country because materially we are not there. So people shouldn't be coming to praise people for what we should be ashamed of ourselves of doing as a people. Because sometimes it's so vexing, honestly speaking.
All right, thank you very much. I've got Wisdom calling from Buguma. Wisdom, good evening to you.
Hello, good day, Kalada.
Yeah,
and your guest in the studio.
Yeah, Wisdom, I can hear you. Go ahead. Welcome.
All right. First, let me correct an impression. Your guest said the what will be a question in respect of scholarship and grant he gave to the Asari Toro chairman. Recently, 2 weeks ago, gave over 250 undergraduates and over 50 also postgraduate students, amounting over 30 million. So for your guest to say you have done what no local government chairman has done in River State, that is not correct.
He said in Obiakpor.
Then looking at what local government administration should do to help ameliorate the suffering of the people at the local government, I think in view of insecurity, our boys are grossly unemployed, our youth. Local government chairman should look at floating skill acquisition center to engage our youth, teaming youth in skill acquisition. That's one. Then I think poverty there is endemic poverty at the various local governments. Our women who are into petty trading should also be encouraged with a soft loan of grants. At least that will help them. Then also take advantage of the geographical terrain, riverine area fishing, upland, as your guest said, farming. Local government should also think towards that. Thank you and God bless
Thank you very much, Wisdom. Now, first of all, when you were caretaker chairman, when you were the transition chairman for 3 months, you said, what was the allocation like in that 3 months for Obiakpor? Can you remember?
Well, that was towards the end of the government of Goodluck Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last 3 months to the end of that government. And there was what they call a drop in allocation.
Okay.
The oil prices fell because, it's oil prices that determines how much we get.
Yeah.
So there was a fall in oil prices and the allocation was not much. Barely enough to pay.
But can you give me a figure? What was it at the time?
Sometimes 30 million, 40 million.
Million?
Yeah, million.
A month?
Yeah, a month.
Oh, wow.
And then by the time you manage to pay salaries, you're not left with money perhaps to power the generator in the council.
So why then, that's another question, why didn't we have local government councils overwhelming themselves with too many staffers? I mean, yet again, another problem where we wait for allocation to share than be creative. And that's why I was asking you the question at the time, which should be the priority, going for industries or going for infrastructures? Why do we overwhelm our councils with staffers because we are waiting for allocation? Why do we do that?
It's because of what I would call misunderstanding. If people think that job creation is something that government should do, and of course, in the military era, the military, in trying to see how they can gain legitimacy, did certain crazy things that, when we now had politicians in place, they continued with some of those things. And up till now, we have not done away with a number of those things that were created by the military. So you have the councils populated by people who have been nothing. You remember the fight between the people in MO1 and Judy Lloyd, and all of that. So, but that's on the one hand. The other thing that I think we should be focusing on is, somebody was talking about what local government should do for the people, skill acquisition, and all of those things have happened over and over and over.
No, he's actually saying it should be more than skill acquisition.
Yeah, it has happened. They give them money. They give them starter packs. They do even private individuals, National Assembly members, State Assembly members, and all of that. They do these things. Part of the problem is that our people don't know how to take advantage of these things for their own good.
Okay.
And then when we talk about engagement of government, I was in council and I saw clearly the level of detachment between the people and the government. You see, if you go to a typical council, you see people milling around the place. Some of them with something maybe like they want to see chairman, want to see our chairman, and then the chairman now comes. Yes, what is it? And they are presenting to you something that makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense. They just write up something. In fact, there was a case where 2 different groups came on the same day with the same document but 2 different letterheads telling you that they want you to do this, and then at the end of the meeting they want you to give them something to go home with.
All right, I've got to pause you. Unfortunately, we're out of time, Dr. Govt Worlu, and I wish we could continue this conversation, but time is not our friend. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
All right, so I've been speaking with Dr. Govt Worlu, who is a former transition chairman, Obiakpor local government area, and a lecturer, management department, University of Port Harcourt. And that's too much we can take, but conversations will continue after the news update that will come your way by 5 in a few seconds time. Stay tuned.